Jedi Master Yaddle, second of three known members of Yoda species, was first introduced to us in The Phantom Menace. Before her appearance in Tales of the Jedi, not much was noted of Yaddle in canon besides a mention in Jedi Fallen Order, Master and Apprentice, and a brief appearance in the High Republic. Yaddle is one of my favorite Jedi. Now I could talk about her proficiency with the Force, knowledge of rare Force abilities, and lightsaber dueling, but to me that's not why I love Yaddle. Yaddle was known and sought after for her wisdom, kindness, and compassion. Her origins and legends detail these traits perfectly and demonstrates why she is a Jedi to be emulated and revered. This story is from Star Wars Tales number 5. If you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Our tale begins sometime before the Battle of Naboo as the Jedi Council debate whether Yaddle should be made a Jedi Master. Yoda, being the hater in his infinite wisdom, questions whether Yaddle should be knighted given that her Padawan training is incomplete. Master Windu wishes to rehear Yaddle's tale, and she obliges. In the year 232 BBY, Yaddle and her master Pulvin Kut were summoned to the planet Koba to help free its people from the tyranny of Tulak. Pulvin Kut and Tulak shared a dark history because Tulak had murdered Master Kut's family and Master Kut sought revenge. Master Kut and Yaddle were betrayed by some of the freedom fighters and were ambushed by Tulak and his forces. Seeing his target of vengeance so close, Pulvin Kut lost himself to his anger and embraced the dark side. This clouded his judgment, his reactions, and led to a quick death. Yaddle was then imprisoned and tortured, but she refused to break. Yaddle's response to her torture was that Tulak's reign of terror would end by his own hand. Furious at this response, Tulak decided to keep Yaddle as a hostage and imprison her. However, he had had enough of the planet Koba, and he decided to leave the planet in the care of his marshals and peaced out. Forgotten by Tulak, mocked by his marshals, Yaddle stayed in prison for over a century. Yaddle was provided for by the wardens until the resources on Koba became scarce. Then, besides the occasional ritual-like offering from the Kobans, Yaddle relied on the Force for survival. During the near century of her isolation, Yaddle reflected upon the lessons of her late master, embracing and eventually achieving unity with the Force. Yaddle learned the art of combat as a means of survival, using her wooden stick to defeat various creatures. An earthquake caused an opening to her cave and freed her, and for the first time in over a century, Yaddle saw daylight. When she emerged, she sensed much suffering and despair all around her. The Kobans had been ravaged by famines and plagues, and now had been decimated by earthquakes. The Kobans were struggling to rebuild their broken society, and Yaddle had decided to provide as much help as she possibly could to them, even to the point of declining a request to return to Coruscant to resume her Jedi training. She declared that she would not return while her work on Koba remained unfinished. Furthermore, she worked with the Koban children, teaching them the lessons she had learned as a Padawan. Tulak's son Khaled had replaced his father as warlord, and he came to Koba to claim what he sought as his inheritance. The son was more ruthless than the father, and he intended to ravage the world for whatever it had to give him. He and his forces razed the villages, destroying much of what they had worked so hard to rebuild. When they arrived at Yaddle's village, Khaled was disgusted at the condition that the Kobans were living in. The Kobans were too weak to fight back, and he stole the few valuables they had. Yaddle, or as the Kobans had begun calling her, the One Below, emerged and demanded that the Kobans be left in peace. Khaled refuses, and Yaddle engages him in a duel. Using only her wooden stick, Yaddle defeats Khaled and liberates the Koban people, fulfilling her own prophecy of Talak's reign ending by his own hand. In recognition of her mastery and unity with the Force, the Council initiates Yaddle as a Jedi Master and offers her a seat on the Council. In Legends, Yaddle would still meet her end in a tragic manner, although much more befitting of a Jedi and much more on her own terms. But that's a video for another time. If you like this video, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And until next time, remember, there are more of us.